Keon is probably the best kept secret in the NBA. I think he's still a secret. I would still call him a secret
I think
because
he's just teetering on that line.
yeah, I think that I remember when he went off against the Hawks and people were like, "Who's this Keon Ellis guy?" He's not even really a 3-point threat. He's a 3 and D guy. He's the ultimate 3 and D guy in the West right now. I think out of that like little subsection of players like Tumani Kamara, Keon Ellis, especially Marcus Smart, he's now in the West. Who else is another guy I could think of and put in that category? All those guys are very 3 and D oriented. Brook Lopez is in the West now, and I think that Keon is right there in the top two, right next to Kamara. I think that he's actually the. I
He's the
wouldn't be
best
surprised.
shooter of that group, actually.
Well, good afternoon. Hello, my name is Michael,
And I'm Keaton or Key.
and this is the Kia Boys podcast. So, today this is the inaugural episode. NBA preseason is coming to an end. It's winding down right now. I think tonight's the last day of games, right, Key?
I believe that's right. Yes, sir.
So, as a Kia Boys podcast, the Magic are in the Kia Center. This is a Magic centric podcast, except we do talk about the league. We do talk about things within the NBA, of course. So, what do you think we should debut with the Magic? What do you think of the Magic? What are your predictions for us this season?
I think we're in for a really big season. I thought the offseason was really uncharacteristic of Jeff Weltman in the best way possible. You saw he was aggressive throughout, starting with Desmond Bain. And then at the draft, you saw him get aggressive, even just by trading the second round picks for Noah Penda at pick 32. And then we also acquired Tyus Jones. So just a really aggressive offseason from him. And I honestly loved basically all the moves. We can get into Tyus Jones later. I think we're both
No, no.
iffy on that. But
I would actually, the hearing Tyus Jones actually made me, that's the perfect way to start the segment. So I think that we have to start off with the valuing of non-rim attacking guards, especially within the Magic system. Since we have not one, not two, but three guards pretty much sitting around on the team. Two of them are starters, Suggs and Bain, but Tyus as well. They're not rim centric. They're Suggs athletic. Bain is a efficient finisher, and Tyus is neither. So right, how do you think that's gonna impact our season when we're trying to space out the floor and try to allow Paulo to create for himself off to the side, and we're trying to allow for Franz to have extra options to drive and kick? How do you think that having guards who aren't elite finishers, how do you think that's going to impact our two larger wings?
I do think even though Suggs doesn't live at the rim, I mean, he is a good rim finisher. Like his percentages are really good. And then Desmond Bain, I don't think harms us. I think he helps us in so many ways. Obviously, a great floor spacer, shooting like 43% from three. Off the dribble is great, and catch and shoot even better. I really think he'll help Paulo with his passing ability. I think it's super underrated. He has a lot of reads that I mentioned before. Like he has laydowns, he has skip passes, he has hammer passes on the baseline. So I think Bain will be fantastic. And yeah, like you said about Tyus, definitely some weaknesses because he's not an off the dribble creator, and he's not a walking paint touch, which you really want your guards to be. But also something that you mentioned when we've had conversations is that at the end of the day, he's just a game managing point guard, and that might not be the worst thing when he's in with Paulo and Franz, just distributing touches that way. So I think Tyus Jones, while I don't think he's an amazing option, and while I'll probably get into it later that I think Jace Richardson should have more minutes than him, especially come like mid-season, I don't think he's going to be actively harming us on offense, and still 40% three-point shooter. So yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I've always expressed my opinions on Tyus Jones. He's a good guy. He's fine when you analyze his pure box scores. His box scores are awesome. He'll give you 11, 6, one turnover, which is awesome. 40% from three. But then you look at the games and you're like, well, if somebody wants to stop him, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to pressure Tyus Jones can't really do much about it." And I think that's going to really separate us in those clutch time minutes because, for example, when we're playing a team like the Hawks in the playoffs, or when we're playing a team like the 76ers in the playoffs, or even the Cavaliers, the Knicks, having a guard that is easily able to be hidden by all of those teams' guards, like you're able to hide your worst defensive player on them. For example, Brunson can guard Tyus Jones, Trey Young can guard Tyus Jones, Tyrese Maxey guards Tyus Jones.
Garland, yeah.
Darius Garland, all those guys can guard Tyus Jones, and I think that's going to be a very critical part of what you're asking from a team when you're trying to put pressure on the opposing defense, especially in the playoffs, because it's going to be like there's going to be stretches where it's going to be Tyus playing with the starters, or it's going to be stretches where the Knicks or the Cavs are going to play their starters, and then against a 3 out of 5 bench lineup. And those times you're just not going to really want to have Tyus on the court. So I think that's going to be Jace Richardson. Hopefully will appear by April, May.
Mm,
Or if worst comes to worst, I mean, we can cut it down to an 8-man rotation and only allow Anthony Black, only allow Mo Wagner, and from there, I mean, it looks bleak. I don't really want TDS, Tristan De Silva. I mean, you already know I'm an iffy guy on Jonathan Isaac. I think that his abilities just regressed, so I don't know. I think that the Ty signing has kind of handicapped us, but I do have hope if he is a 41% 3-point shooter and could just really make those extra passes.
mm, I agree. Well, instead of talking about, the lower level additions, what are we looking for Paulo and Franz? Just the franchise cornerstones. Paulo inked his big deal recently, so what are you looking for from them?
From the two of them, I mean, see, I would like to have something of the upper echelon in terms of playmaking from the two wings. I call them bigs because they're 6'10", but they're wings. So I think that I want Paulo to be able to really unlock that next level of interior scoring and interior passing. I want him to really get a more wraparound passes because he's a very big guy. When he gets into the rim, he gets a bump, and a center has to come and overcommit. I want him to really get around centers and really be able to make those interior reads, get wraps to the corner, get wraps still in the paint. I want him to be able to have a wide array of finishes so that he can open up his own, or not a wide array of finishes perhaps, but a wide array of play finishing moves so that he could open up his own ability in and around the rim. Because I do think that he has very, I wouldn't say lackluster versatility within the paint, but he has non-threatening moves. Because I think one of the biggest highlights that we would all remember from last season when they opened up against the Miami Heat last year, very early on, and Paulo had a very nice no-look bounce pass to Goga when Goga was cutting baseline, or was it Wendell?
Are you
I think it
talking
was
about
Goga.
behind the back to Franz on the baseline?
No, I swear it was a one arm bounce pass to Goga. But if it was a behind the back to Franz, that could be entirely
I remember
possible.
that one, yeah.
I just remember Paulo had a great interior read, and then somebody dunked the ball, and it was awesome. I was very inspired. I personally thought we were gonna win 50 games last year, which we should have.
Yeah, without the injuries.
Never mind all that. I was going off on a tangent. I just think that Paulo needs to be able to threaten more in the paint and not trying to stiffen up. And then for Franz, you know what Franz needs to do.
True.
He needs to get above
Very well.
30% from three. I mean, it's almost confusing because like how can you be this good of a rim finisher and have such a positive mid-range game, and then once you get behind that blue line in the Kia Center, it's like nothing's going on. You forgot everything. So I think that's all that Franz needs to do. Paulo has some things to work on, but at the end of the day, they're both franchise cornerstones. I think that this season is really going to be on Mr.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, we can get back to Wendell, but yeah, just to give some thoughts on Franz and Paulo. The 3-point shooting from Franz, like you said, is definitely confusing. Like when you go and do draft scouting for guys, and you see draft analysts talk about like touch indicators, they'll use like percentages from the short mid range and the free throw line, both of which are areas that Franz thrives in. I mean, he's a great free throw shooter. He has a great floater and push shot, and he's shooting 45% from the short mid range, which is really in the upper echelon of the league. So, like you said, I don't know how that doesn't translate to his beyond the arc shooting. I mean, his mechanics are definitely off, but he shot better in previous years with still wonky mechanics. So definitely hoping that improves. I don't know how much hope I've had for it. Like I've told you, I think it might be getting a little too far along, but do hope he ups it a little bit. As for Paulo, I think the big thing that people have talked about that I'm like in really strong agreement with is that he needs to cut out some of like the poor shot choices that he makes. And I know Magic fans like to think he is a good mid-range shooter, but guys, Paulo Banchero is not a good mid-range shooter. And
don't rain on anybody's parade. Just don't do that.
I
People are
just
having fun thinking about it.
I have to put it into perspective. Shea Gilgis Alexander, after his historic season, he shot 15% of his shots from the long mid range. Paulo shot 17% of his shots, and Shea shot them 12% better than Paulo Banchero. Paulo Banchero shot long mid range shots at 38%.
And I don't. Well, okay. Here's what I do think. I do think that Paulo knows, or he's at least relatively intuitive, that those aren't the best looks. But there's not really much that he could do since his handle is a little bit looser, and I think that's going to be the first big improvement. But however, speaking of teams that contended for a title with three great players, I do want to know, who do you think is going to be our third most impactful player this year?
I think it will pretty easily be Desmond Bain. I actually don't think it will be too close. Do you mean in an X factor way or just positive contributor?
I think, well, yes, in an X Factor way, because I think that Desmond Bain is a little bit less versatile than Suggs. I think that there will be times when, for example, if we're going up against a team, because I'm a lineup guy, I think that lineup versatility is big. So I do think, can Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Franz, Jonathan Isaac, and then throw in Wendell Carter, can those five guys coexist on the court at the same time, in your opinion?
Give me the lineup again.
So we got Franz running the pseudo point guard. Then we have Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell Carter.
I think that's a rough one. I think I think when you have so many guys that are like negative floor spacers, which I'd say is AB 100%, JI 100%, and then Wendell and Jalen, you have to kind of see how they shoot it this year because they've both had like good shooting years. Jalen shot 40% before, and Wendell shot 37%. So you do have to see how those guys shoot the ball. And obviously, Franz is a negative floor spacer, but we still are confident in his on-ball scoring gravity. Just such a potent like driver. So I think that's tough. I think those are kind of the lineups where you might want to have like one of Franz or Paulo, and then Bain as well on the court. I think maybe two of them should be on the court most times. But yeah, I think that might be reliant on an AB or JI like bounce back slash leap year.
And that puts a smile on my face personally, because I've been preaching, because we're in the Magic group chat, got about 200 members, and this is the same few guys that are always telling me the same stuff. I always say, Anthony Black, he's a small forward. Best, he's a shooting guard, right? At his absolute best, he's a shooting guard. But I do think that conceptually, having him and Suggs on the same team, two shot blocking guards that can really slide to the three and protect the rim while give you added mobility and real dunker spot juice on offense. I think that those two guys can be super key in the versatility of our lineups, because at all times Franz should be bringing up the ball. I don't disagree with the idea of Paulo bringing up the ball, but I don't think that Paulo has play initiation that is broken that next level, especially because his off the dribble scoring juice is just. I don't want to trash my man, but his off the dribble, I think he's just too slow right now. I don't think there's much of that first step burst that you really want from a off the dribble scorer. I think that if he does catch it in half court and can really set up and give himself maybe a couple steps so he can really stampede towards the rim, kind of like how J-Dub creates for himself, kind of like how Alperen Sengun creates for himself. I think that that type of style will be a lot better for Paulo, and then he could also add in the dump offs. And he still has the arm angles to do a feathery skip pass even when he's driving. So I'm not worried about Paulo per se, but I am worried about how we fill in between Paulo, because like Paulo is such a specific type of player that you can't really add guys around him without taking into account, hey, we're gonna need to protect the rim and the perimeter, because Paulo doesn't do a ton of both. Paulo's kind of a hide him on the worst guy and make the worst offensive player won't have a good night on Paulo. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna need guys who can guard the ball, protect the rim, etc. So I do think that a healthy Suggs will be our third best player, but I do think that Desmond Bain will have the most cumulative impact towards the season relative to last year. Whoever he's replaced? Who is he replacing on this year's starting lineup?
Kentavious Caldwell Pope.
Wow, what a guy,
Just
man!
22 million.
I don't know. That was a steal. I mean, I really did think. I remember who posted that before the start of last season. Who posted? Somebody posted something saying like, imagine you're dribbling the ball and you dribble. You're trying to get by Suggs. Look left, you got KCP. You look right, you got Jonathan Isaac, and none of those guys played anything near what you expected last year. So that was very funny.
Yeah, no, glad to get rid of KCP. Wishing him the best though.
I'm not. Okay, right. If Anthony Black could handle the ball, Anthony Black KCP bench lineup would be feeding families if we still had Bane. But I don't think we could have gotten him without giving up KCP. But what's wow, oh, this just came to me. I did actually really want to hear your opinion on this, right? Do you think that the Magic can run a double big lineup this year?
Are you only include like would a pseudo big count?
No,
You
no,
okay?
I'm talking Wendell, Goga,
Wendell, Goga,
Jonathan
Mo.
Isaac, Mo. Yes,
Okay, Ji. I mean, I think that's also contingent on shooting in a sense.
that's true.
I do wonder what like Mo and Wendell would look like together, just because they're so different. Like Mo is so reliant on just like the dribble drive game, and his foot speed is so much quicker than a lot of bigs. Like you'll see him just get that inside hand lay all the time. And Wendell like will live near the glass, but also like will space out to the corner a lot, or like on the wings just waiting for a kick out. So I think they would be interesting with Mo playing the four, but then he's also put into like a lot more movement, and then that might get a little worrying on the perimeter. But I think offensively the lineup could maybe work.
So I saw supposedly, theoretically, hypothetically, I did see Wendell and Goga work because they were like it was like Wendell, Goga, Franz, which is a terrifying lineup to go against, in my opinion, offensively because Goga is a lob threat finisher and supposedly Wendell can shoot the mid range, shoot the three. It's a lot of hypotheticals with him. I'm
Yeah.
not a hater. I swear I'm not a hater. I promise I'm not a hater. But he's such a hypothetical. Like his this the ceiling of his abilities is so far away from the floor of his abilities that it kind of messes up how I view him as a player. So it's very wonky kind of because like imagine a dude who could shoot 20% from three for the season, but he can also shoot 35
Mm,
and he could finish well, but sometimes he could finish at like 57% as a big. I think that was where he's at for December or January. I forget. I think there's a stretch where he just couldn't make a layup, which was I'm gonna see when I can find that. I'll try to pull up those stats while we're in post. Pretty much, I'm gonna try to pull those up. But we're coming to around the mark where I did want to get into the National Basketball Association. I mean, I have a
standings.
I think it is time for conference standing. So let's get the notes app out. So let's try and play a little game. All right. So let me get the random number generator, and I'm gonna put it in 1 through 10 because you do have 15 or do you have 10?
I have 15. Do you want me to go through those back five for each conference really quick?
Yeah, just go knock out the back five.
Alright, so East 15 spot, I got Brooklyn. I can give my little notes on each. They'll be pretty brief. I said the defense could actually be pretty damn good, and I thought they had some good depth at the wing and the bigs. And then I said probably the worst off the dribble team in the league, but Jordy likes keeping them competitive, and they are always like moving the ball, even with a few ball stoppers on the roster now. They were third in made passes last year, and we'll have to see how guys look like especially like Nick Claxton had his worst year last year. So I'll be fascinated to see what he looks like. 14, I have the Washington Wizards. Got to see how the young guys develop. I mean, they're such a youthful roster, but some of the guys were much worse than people like to admit. Like Alex Sarr shot 48% true shooting, and he was 64% at the rim, which is just horrible for a big. He was 87% volume on finishing play types, but 19% efficiency. 13, I have Charlotte. I know people are riding the Charlotte train. I think the offense.
I'm clenching my fist right now.
Yeah.
I'm biting my tongue.
I think Charlotte could have a good offense, but I just think the guards that produce that good offense for them are just not good on the defensive end. I think a lot of it will fall back on that center rotation. As much as I love that center rotation with Kalkbrenner and Diabate, so yeah, we'll have to see what they look like. I can see the hypothetical ceiling with them, but I just think it's a little rich to have them anywhere higher than like 11. At
They could be 10, man. They could be 10. They could be 10. They could be 10. For sure, for sure.
12, if I have Chicago, perennial play-in team, but I think even in this weak East, I don't actually think they make it this year because the two teams with injured superstars, Tatum and Hallie, I actually think will finish above them. But I had the Celtics coming in one spot above them at my 11. So that's my East 15 through, and then West I can go through this a little quicker. I got 15 Utah Jazz, 14 Sacramento Kings,
Oh,
13.
that no, I can't agree with that. I can't let that's why I
Why?
can't.
Okay.
I okay. I'm not like a Kings truther, but I do believe that at a certain point, once you add enough players with positive offensive ability, I do think that you get to a point where it's like having the league's worst defense doesn't matter. I didn't think it. I think they are a playing team. Oh, wait, where did I
Yeah.
have them? Okay, because right, I don't think I include them in the plan, but I would not be surprised if they will their way to 41 and 41
All right.
off of.
Continue.
I was gonna say will their way to 41-41 off of just purely having six players who can all get double digits and shoot as a squad shoot around 36% from three, 37%.
I think I could see them being above two of the teams I have ahead of them, but no further. I think some of the fit is just super clunky. I also just think the lineups were so bad. One of the things I included was that the lineup of Malik Monk, Zach Levine, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis posted a 125.5 rating, which is 10 higher than the
Um,
league average. And then all you have to do is switch Keon Ellis for Zach Levine, and it's a -9 defensive rating plus 20 net rating. And these samples were like basically the same amount of minutes, right around 200, which is still relatively small. But I think Keon Ellis is getting severely underplayed.
I do I do believe this exact same thing. I do believe Keon is probably the best kept secret in the NBA. I think he's still a secret. I would still call him a secret
I think
because
he's just teetering on that line.
yeah, I think I remember when he went off against the Hawks and people were like, "Who's this Keon Ellis guy?" And he's not even really a 3-point threat. He's a 3 and D guy. He's the ultimate 3 and D guy in the West right now. I think out of that like little subsection of players like Tumani Kamara, Keon Ellis, especially Marcus Smart, he's now in the West. Who else is another guy I could think of and put in that category? All those guys are very 3 and D oriented. Brooke Lopez is in the West now. And I think that Keon is right there in the top two, right next to Kamara. I think that he's actually I
He's
wouldn't
the
be
best
surprised.
shooter of that group, actually.
He is, most definitely. I think that if he were to get 30 minutes on a contending team, he would be all defensive second team, at least.
Hmm. I think we'd have to see how the offense looks like with an uptick in minutes. I
For
think he's
sure.
still lacking some off the dribble stuff, but no, definitely a very intriguing player. At 13, I had the Suns. I can totally. This is one of the ones where I was hesitant on. I could see these being a little higher. I think they have.
Wait, the Suns higher than 13?
I think they could be a little higher. I don't think I'd put them lower. I think they have too many like positive contributors, and I also think I have like enough faith in some of their youth. Ryan Dunn and Oso, I'm iffy on. I think Malawach will be pretty solid, and I think Rasheer Fleming could come for like that Oso spot.
So that's a hot take. I mean, I think that also has been one of also the also Dunn pairing has been one of my favorites because you remember when last year preseason Ryan Dunn was a semi legit 3-point shooter and people thought it was going to carry into the regular season, and then the regular season he kind of regressed how he was in Virginia, even though pre-draft, I was a huge Ryan Dunn guy. I was always saying he's super underrated. I would talk to all my friends. I was like, Ryan Dunn, he's the ultimate lob threat. And I would just, if you look at his highlights, let me pull up his per hundreds real quick. But why I keep talking, I mean, Ryan Dunn was potentially, I think, was he the ACC Player of the Year back to back, or was it only 1 year?
I'm not sure.
I'm not. Let me go and make sure I check this out before I. Okay, he wasn't even the depoy. He was only all defensive team. I mean, that's incredible. But yeah, I mean, per 100, he was getting 3 steals and 5 blocks per
Yeah,
100
that's ridiculous.
for the whole season. And then he actually turned it up to almost 6 blocks in conference play. So that's a 10.4 block percentage. I think he's an absurd rim protector. I do think that he should be the four for the Suns this year. I think it should be Booker. Unfortunately, Jalen Green. Very unfortunately. Dylan Brooks, Ryan Dunn, and Mark Williams. I'm a Mark Williams guy. I like Mark Williams, but I think that's a solid rotation. But I just don't think that they're good enough. I think that Mark Williams is a bad rim protector in this
Yes, for
stage.
sure. Yeah, lob threat, good rebounder, but yeah, not a rim protector. 12, I had the Pelicans. This one, I was mad at because I think Zion Williamson is in for like a ridiculous season.
For sure.
Maybe his best season ever. I think I'm so excited for that.
I'm
And
super
I
stoked.
think when healthy, when you look at the roster, I think some of the guys are like past their prime playing years. Like I don't think DeJounte Murray will ever be as good as he was in his best year. But you look at the roster and like you think they have some talent, and they do. I think like in those top four players about, but I think after that, I think there's a lot of question marks, and I still just think even with a Gray Zion year, I don't think they're gonna just be beating teams night in night out.
Yeah, I'd most definitely agree. I mean, the West is such a tough conference because I think that every single team in the West has a guy that, well, not to harp on the Jazz, but every single team outside the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, has a guy who has a legit all-star bid. Because I'll go from who you named. I mean, the Suns, of course, they have D-Book. Before the Suns, the Kings, Sabonis.
Sabonis, yeah.
The
Zion.
Pelicans, it's Zion, and the Pelicans is a very interesting team. 'Cause I was looking at their roster not too long ago, and I was like, okay, after DeJounte comes back in January or so, what are we really looking at in terms of minute split for the guards? Because Fears has earned playing time to me. You have to play Murphy, you have to play Herb Jones. I
Who else
wouldn't.
they play?
Yeah, you have to play. I thought Jordan Poole's like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you kind of Sadiq Bey has to get touches. I'm not sure about the big man rotation, but at the end of the day, I mean, you drafted Derek Queen in the first round. You traded 10 picks up for him. You have to play him. And Kevon Looney, you signed
For a
him.
little bit.
Yeah, you signed him, but you still have to play him as well. And Yves Missy. So I just named 12 guys, or that's like 9 guys who have to play, and then there's like another 3 to 4 who are gonna earn
Yeah,
minutes.
in the
So
rotation. Like Alvarado will play.
yeah, Alvarado plays. So that's a lot of guards that they owe minutes to, and that's one of my least favorite things because dating back to last year's Rockets, owing minutes to players is absolutely awful, and I think that the Magic are going to struggle with that owing minutes to Tyus Jones, and I think that's going to be a little bit weird for a lot of teams because you're going to have to trade or bench guys at the end of the day. But who's your 11 in the West?
I imagine you'll disagree with this, but I don't know where you had them. This is simply, I could see them one or two spots higher. Well, no, I could see them a good bit higher. Sorry, I'm building up the suspense. I can see them a good bit higher, but I think the teams above them will have a better season, just strictly win loss. But I got the Spurs.
I'm not even gonna get mad. Are we going through the the top 25 in this episode or?
I do not have my list
Say
yet.
that.
You're welcome
Okay,
to start.
so we're gonna. No, I'll save that for after week 1 of the NBA season, right? Just so it's known. I have it prepared. I might post it on Twitter just to be safe. But Wembanyama's too good. I don't think you could have a player that's that good and that impactful when
Hmm.
healthy and miss out on the playoffs or the postseason. Because I'm
Yeah.
fine with them getting eliminated in the plan. If they can lose to any team in the plan, I won't be mad. I will be completely understanding. 'Cause I think that every team in the West has a viable Wemby stopper, and then every team also can break down that terrible defensive like perimeter. I mean, at the end of the day, even when you get to the postseason, when you're going against a great rim protector, if you have Devin Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, I guess Harris,
Johnson.
Keldon Johnson. I guess Harrison Barnes and Sol Chan are positive. I think the most pursued player in the West should be Herb Jones this year, for sure. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, could sell him at the deadline for sure. How
Yeah.
high did you have the Spurs?
I'm not. I wasn't too much high. I only had them at 10. I had them at 10.
Okay. Okay.
But I
It
mean,
would
I
be crazy looks. I think what you mentioned was the part I struggled with most. Like, just when I put them at 11, I was like, damn, like that means they're not making the play in. And I think that's what hurt.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
could
I think
totally swap them for my 10 spot, but I just really want to be high on the team in my 10 spot.
okay. Well, okay. So before we get into this random number generator, try and making these arguments. I'm gonna guess who's in your 10th spot. It's the Portland Trail Blazers.
The Trailblazers.
I knew it. I knew it. Of course, Portland Trail Blazers are my favorite team. In out of those young squads, those Wizards, Hornets, Jazz, wherever it's Spurs, Portland Trail Blazers are so awesome, man. They have because I was envisioning, right? If Dame were to be healthy, that team is a killer. I would put them in this top six. I wouldn't even bother with 10 seed. I'll put them top six if they had Dame. But
Yeah.
if in theory you have Drew, you have Shadon Sharp, Tumani, Denny, Klingon. That's arguably the best defensive front court in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Very, very arguably. I think who would you personally put above that? The Warriors, maybe?
Front court, yeah. I mean, I just meant like they were top four in defensive rating post All Star break, and they lost two like of their worst defenders.
Yeah, and
Like you don't, like, you're not playing Simons anymore, so
and
it's
then
scary.
well, once they cut out Jeremy Grant from the lineup,
We'll have to see if that
if
happens.
that
He
if
might be taking
Thibault
too
if
much.
wait, I'm really starting to get it's gonna get a little freaky. Drew, Thibault, Tumani, Denny, Klingon. That's unbelievable. I think I think that I think that'd be the by far best defensive team in the league.
Yeah,
But let's get into this. All right. So are you ready? I'm gonna press generate.
I'm ready.
Ooh, number three. All right. So you want to go east or west?
We can go whichever. We can do both if you want.
I'll go number three in the west. So who do you have?
I have Denver.
I have the Clippers, man. I have the Clippers. I think the Clippers are a lot stronger this year. I think the Clippers have the best potential depth in the league. I do believe.
Totally see it.
And I know how people are with Denver, though. I mean, you think that Denver's going to be the best offensive team by far.
Yeah, they're definitely in that territory. Just like Cam Johnson pickup. What like one of the notes I had is like, I don't even buy some of the pickups like postseason viability. I'm really not rating Tim Hardaway Jr. in the postseason or even like Bruce Brown, but I just think they're
Mm,
just gonna be a regular season win machine. I think Bruce Brown can play in the postseason.
yeah,
I just don't like. I think he won't be as positive a contributor as he will in the regular
yeah, I
season.
definitely think that's going to be more of those. A lot of those pickups are definitely going to be like regular season fluff, where it's like Tim Hardaway can get 8 points on 42% from three. Bruce Brown's going to get like three, and three, all that stuff. But in the postseason, it's still going to be the same 7 to 8 guys. I do think Peyton Watson's probably going to pick up some minutes, but I do think that they're going to get absolutely ran out the gym if they play. Who's your 6 seed? Actually, that's a perfect segue.
Six, I had Minnesota.
Yeah, you think Anthony Edwards? Who's guarding him on that team? Christian Brown? Are we getting
Mr. Point
Christian
of
Brown?
attack.
Christian Brown point of attack? Come on. And it's Jokic at the rim. Some rotations gonna be Valanciunas at the rim. And you saw Adelman had Valanciunas and Jokic playing zone at the same time. I think
So do you think Minnesota will stack up more regular season wins than Denver?
no, no, no. I think that they
Just
will.
a
I think
postseason issue.
Denver's going to be the most vulnerable postseason team. I think that they've committed a lot to offense, and I do think that certain key players are regressing in terms of the rules that made Denver Denver. Because I remember when Aaron Gordon, pre all this calf and hamstring stuff, was a really good defensive rebounder, was really key in ending possession for the other team when they were able to get stops. And now he's like a 4 rebound a game guy, maybe 5. And I don't think that's very viable for postseason basketball. I need guys who can guarantee me 10, guarantee me 9 alongside Jokic. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot of possession ending. I think that Denver's going to be very comfortably bad in second chance defense.
Hmm. Yeah, I pulled it up. Aaron Gordon was at like 13% defensive rebound percentage. This past season, he was at 11.
Yeah. So I think that if he continues to regress, it's gonna start to get a little bit spooky, especially when you have to now play Cam Johnson. I mean, it's just gonna be a lot of rebounding by committee.
Hmm.
So, and I do think that's gonna limit their transition defense because you can't rebound by committee when you have Nikola Jokic. You're gonna have to trust him to go grab it, get on the break. I don't think that's going to be a lot of. I don't think it would be smart to try and corral rebounds. I think that's going to really kill their offense. But next number, let's see, man. This is exciting. It's very exciting. So this is my. I want to do East and West. Actually, no, I'll do East and West for this one. Start with the East first. So I have Miami in the East,
What number is it?
number 8.
Oh, I didn't hear the number.
I didn't even say the number. I was so excited to talk about the West for this number. I completely forgot.
You have Miami 8 in the East. Okay.
Yes,
Very close to where I put them. I had Toronto.
Toronto. I have Toronto at 9.
Okay. So we're pretty close there.
I think that a lot of those teams are just super front court dominant with no guard play.
Hmm.
So it's like, or well, not no guard play, but guard play that's very easy to exploit on both ends of the court because you put a good defender on quickly your hero it starts to break down, and then they can both be attacked on that end. Both those teams, I think, is a wash. I think if either of those teams makes the postseason, they get beat in the first round.
Yeah.
Nothing too impressive.
Yeah.
But for the West, who'd you have?
West, I had Memphis.
Memphis. Well, the West, I had Mr. Doncic and friends.
Okay. I'm pretty close on that too. I definitely didn't have the Lakers too high this year. I had them at 7.
I'm not gonna say I'm not high on the Lakers. I think that the Lakers, the reason why they finished 7th is more so because they're not a regular season team. I've I'm going to believe in the Lakers until the Lakers are no longer the Lakers, right? Well, as long as they have LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and viable defenders around them, because I think that Austin Reeves should come off the bench, or at worst, I think that Reeves should be traded and try to net. Because I'm imagining a world where they trade Reeves and acquire Tamani Kamara. I'm imagining that world. I like to be in that world, right?
So who do you want coming at the 2 if Reeves
Marcus
is on
Smart.
the bench? Okay. Gotcha.
I'm envisioning Luca, Smart, LeBron, and then a lot of people hate Vanderbilt, and of course it's very understandable. He can't really shoot too well, but I think that having a rear chasing defender who can still grab defensive rebounds and then corner sit effectively is super big for that team spacing because LeBron and Luka are the two best skip passes the league has probably ever seen and probably ever. I'm not gonna say ever will see, but they're unbelievably talented skip passers. So I think that having Vanderbilt and Smart who can both sit around the 3 point line and just shoot the ball at a doable percentage is big. I do think that signing DeAndre Ayton was a useless signing,
Yeah, I
personally.
was gonna ask if you do you think Luca gets like a ton out of him, or do you expect him to kind of still be a disappointment?
I think Luca can. I think Luca can net a lot of value offensively, but I don't think he can do my Aiton being your anchor. I don't think he's a great rim protector, and his rebounding is nice, but LeBron can't give as much effort anymore.
Hmm.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that world, that's like why you're starting Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
So then, kind of just leaves a lot of the offense up to Luca and LeBron, which I
yeah,
still have like pretty good faith that LeBron can still contribute offensively, even if the like rim percentages and just rim attacking aren't there anymore. We've seen he's just added like more mid range stuff to the bag. But yeah, I mean, we know Luca is like one of the best floor raisers the league has seen in so
yeah.
long. So
Man, so I think we're not gonna call it the home stretch. I mean, it's, get into about that time. I mean, we've talked about teams. So who do you think is gonna come out of each conference this year?
in the finals, okay. I think in the West, I'm really confident OKC does it again. I feel pretty confident in that. I think they have the potential to win even more games than they did last year, or at least really close to that number again. And they're returning all of the guys they needed to. And I think some people, honestly, a lot of the players still have like leaps they can make. Like AJ Mitchell might actually be a contributor this year. He was actually plus 10, like relatively true shooting on creation play types on 51st percentile volume, which I found that pretty interesting.
Mm,
You got to see Chet get back to like the early 24 season form with the driving and just like shot mechanics. We saw those got a little wonky after his injuries. So if he becomes a fluid driver again, we know he's a top 3 defender in basketball. And I think Kaysen could evolve as an on ball scorer just a little more. like a tertiary playmaker. I thought we kind of saw that in the games where they were playing against a zone. Like Kaysen was really good at finding the middle of the floor and then like hitting baseline. So I thought he was really impressive in that. So I definitely think OKC comes out of the West. The East, I don't know. I think the easy pick is the Cavs, but I just don't know how much faith I have in the guard defense, even with the addition of Lonzo, and just how the group meshes in the postseason again. Like we saw Mobley kind of got just like taken out of games by like coaching and guys like Donovan Mitchell. And for them to actually make it out of the East, I think Mobley has to play a bigger role.
So you don't think Houston's going to be a big test for OKC? I think Houston's going to be an enormous test.
I think they will be a test, but I'm pretty confident in OKC, honestly.
No, I think I'm gonna said it before. I'm a lineup guy. I think that OKC will be heavily tested by Houston this year. I think that OKC. I'm not gonna say I'm not an OKC believer because of course I am. I think that they're the best modern defense ever. I think that people are, I wouldn't say scared, but people are very hesitant to talk about defenses that aren't anchored by a traditional big, strong, vertical rim protector because when you have a guy like Chet who's able to front bigs and could also position himself in an elite way to not have to leverage his body and just can use his length purely, that's incredible. But I do think that OKC still has an Achilles heel. I still think that in terms of their lineup fluidity, I think that their versatility is a still an issue. I think that iHeart not being able to play down the stretch against a team like Houston because he's not a floor spacer, while Houston can play their five best rebounders will be an issue. I think because listen, right, if you have Amen, Tari, KD, Jabari, and Sengun, ball security is an issue, but they're gonna get a lot of second chance points against a team like OKC. I think they're gonna defend OKC really, really, really well because OKC doesn't have a lot of self creation outside of Shea.
I think that's where the battle of like those second chance points meets the turnovers because we saw how historic that OKCD was at just like event creation. I think against that Houston lineup, Houston's like particularly vulnerable to it there.
And that's entirely true. But I can't go into the season and say that I'm gonna give my Magic a chance. I still think the Magic are outside bet to make it to the
I think
final.
so too. I think so too. I think anywhere past four or anywhere past three, I don't think anyone in the East makes it. At least on my list, which is like anything past the Cavs, Knicks, and Magic. Even though I do like the Hawks this year, I don't think they make the
I do like the
finals.
Hawks as well.
I think they'll be fun. So yeah, I think anyone past three won't, but I do think the Magic have an outside shot, but it's like a lot hinges on internal development.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I think that the Cavs are gonna end up running into an issue of heliocentric ball again. I think that that's gonna be something to definitely watch out for in a lot of the teams this year. Because a guy like Donovan Mitchell, you can't get as much out of him when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. Because you'd like to think that he's an off-ball player. Because I feel like more athletic players are given that preconceived notion. He's a cutter, right? You could say that a more athletic player can cut, they can catch laws, but Donovan Mitchell really doesn't do a lot off ball. So I think that's going to be a big, big, big factor. But hey, I mean, what day does the season start again? What day does the season start?
22nd, is that right? Or is the first game the 20th?
I think the first game is the 20th. I think Lakers Warriors
Yeah,
is the
and I
20th.
think the Magic's first game is the 22nd,
I mean, let me look at that out.
which we will definitely be tuned in for.
Which game do I tune into? Do I tune in? Oh man, it's Thunder. It's going to be an absolute.
Yeah, just like what
It's
we
gonna
were
be. That's gonna be a show. That's gonna be a show. I mean,
and we got
today
Miami at home first game.
I think that should be a blowout. That should be an absolute blowout. Should it?
So yeah, no Tyler.
Yeah. So I mean,
Cavs Knicks play, which should be fun. But Garland is still out, obviously. Then the rest of the slate isn't too intriguing. Some people might like Mavs Spurs. I think Wolves Blazers will just be a fun watch, just because I like both teams. Think the Blazers can be
yeah.
relatively competitive.
I mean, those games, some of those games are gonna get very tiring to watch. I mean, I'm gonna follow. If I like I love the Blazers, but they can only give you an exciting game when they're matched up against a team like the Warriors, where you're actively looking to watch how they stop a certain player. I mean, I don't think you could stop Ant this year. I think that Ant's going to be the scoring title leader. I think if I were to make some throughout predictions for stat leaders, you want to do that just to wrap us up, finish us off.
I don't know if I have all of them, but scoring leader, I'm still riding the Thunder wave. I'm taking repeat Shea.
Nah, I'm not saying that you gotta have some preview. Just throughout some names. I mean, I got Ant as my scoring title. I got Ant, or maybe Giannis, but Ant.
Be honest, yeah, Helio Giannis. That could get interesting.
I think it's gonna be Ant leading the league in scoring, Trey leading in assists,
Yeah, I
Wemby
think
blocks,
Trey for sure. Wemby, I think is the good bet. Yeah.
steals is always just so volatile.
Hmm.
No idea who could be the steals leader.
Yeah, because Dyson season's hard to replicate.
Yeah, it's super. I mean, maybe he can repeat
I
again, but
think he'll
just
still repeat
way
those
like
numbers.
yeah. I was about to say the same thing. Like he's not gonna get 3.4 again. That's impossible. I think he'll drop to like 2.7 and repeat. Rebound title. I mean, that's such a. I'll say Sabonis, but
Oh yeah, did he win it last year?
I'm not sure who won it last year.
Like there's Sabonis, Zoo. Yeah, it might be Sabonis.
Well, it was a good day. Today was a very good day.
Sure. Excited for the season to start. I think
Super excited.
Magic specifically have a lot to play for. I think this could be such a good season. We see people
This could
healthy
be the
instead of
start of something special this year.
instead of seeing our three best players play 5 games together.
Well, we can't do much about that. We cannot do much about that. I really wow, man, that's really disappointing. I wish I got to see Suggs play in the playoffs. I think Suggs is the best defender of superstars, in
Hmm.
my opinion. I think that
Like of guards.
he can guard wings. I think that Suggs would have really laid it out there against Tatum. I don't think Tatum would have. I don't think he would have let Tatum eat like how Tatum was able to dominate us in the back half of that series after his wrist injury.
Yeah, I think Suggs will definitely like solidify himself as the top 3 perimeter defender. Some of
Sure.
those numbers are just crazy. I think he's in like the 100th percentile on multiple things. Let me see. I had it here. Yeah, blocks and stop percentage, 4.5% and 1.6 blocks per hundred.
That's crazy. To me, that it is really crazy that we have a Caruso level defender who just cannot play.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so sad. And if he's,
27 minutes this year, hopefully.
I want Anthony Black's gonna have to step up. That's all I can say. Anthony Black is gonna need to prove why he was worth the sixth pick because I said yesterday. I mean, we could have walked out of that draft with Queso and Derek Lively. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. AB has a lot to prove offensively. I wouldn't say, I mean, preseason overreactions are a big thing, but it's like some people's process looked really good throughout preseason. I don't think AB showed anything particular in preseason. Whereas like Wendell was like actually consistent with what I was telling you,
Yeah,
the short roll decision making. And AB, I don't think we saw anything in particular that was like, okay, yeah, he's coming different this year.
I can only agree. But hey, man, let's wrap it up.
Yep.
So this is once again this is Michael, and
Keaton.
this is the Kia Boys podcast, man. See you guys next time.
Come see you guys.